We live in a world today where violence is constantly occurring by taking the lives of innocent people. Today, the U.S. alone has had more shootings than 10 countries combined, and nearly a third of households own guns. On September 6, 2018, a man decided that taking the lives in a city near each of us was the answer and became one of Cincinnati's deadliest shootings in decades. Today, this speech will focus on this month's mass shooting in Cincinnati, how we define mass shootings in the United States, and how gun violence and mass shootings and mental illness aren't always correlated. Since you are now aware of the current event that happened with gun violence, I will begin by giving some background information on the shooting that occurred on September 6, 2018. On September 6, locals of Cincinnati went about their day when a man came into the Fifth Third Bank and began to shoot. One was dead at the scene and 4 others were hospitalized, where 2 later died. The suspect was also killed at the scene by officials, but this is still under investigation. But what we do know is the man was armed with a 9mm semi-automatic pistol and had multiple magazines, around 200 rounds, that the gun was legally purchased. Gunman Perez was not a formal employee of the bank. While we do not know the reasoning behind the shooting, it is important to know how to define mass shootings and know about gun violence in the U.S. According to Polyfact.com, there is no widely accepted definition of mass shootings. People use either broad or restricted definitions of mass shootings to reinforce their stance on gun violence. But after 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, Congress defined mass killings as 3 or more homicides in a single incident. The Gun Violence Archive also tracks deaths using media, law enforcement, government, and commercial sources. Its data is also based on 4 people injured or killed in one place and does not include the suspect. In 2011, economist Richard Florida dove deep into correlations between gun violence and social indicators. Some were unexpected, that included higher populations, stressed immigrants, and mental illness were not correlated with more deaths from gun violence. But what he did find is pretty predictable. States with tighter gun control laws have fewer gun-related deaths. So now that I've given some facts on gun violence in the United States, I want to state that mental illness isn't always the reason behind a mass shooting. Many believe that turning to mental illness is related to mass shootings is 9 times out of 10 the case, but this is not true. According to a study in American Journal of Public Health, found that databases that track gun homicide show less than 5% of 120,000 gun-related killings between 2001 and 2010 were committed by people with mental illness. Gun violence researchers have found stronger predictors of violence include alcohol, drug abuse, and domestic violence. However, in the Cincinnati shooting, the gunman was said by his family to have a mental illness, and they tried checking him into an institution. But Jeffrey Swanson, a professor in psychiatric and behavior science at Duke, specializes in gun violence and mental illness, conducted a study funded in part by National Institutes of Health, found 4% of gun violence is traceable to schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and depression, 3 conditions that are found in most violent incidents. But what he found is more common among mass shooters are red flag behaviors such as alienation, reactions to bullying, but perhaps don't meet thresholds of mental illness. But substance abuse, on the other hand, is a common threshold in mass shootings in 40% of shootings. So mass shootings overall have many reasons, but even in some, as the Cincinnati mass shooting, they are left unsolved. The fact we never think it will be us, but this time it was, somewhere as close as 2 hours away and another for the books. This shooting in Cincinnati is just one issue out of 1,000 that we hear about every day, and we must stop it from losing the lives of innocent people. So let's be the ones to change the numbers of mass shootings and not be the country that is known for violence every day.